Hello everyone and welcome back. Thank you for joining me. I'll be doing a shorter unboxing today of a small limited edition. I unfortunately can't really do the longer videos anymore. I hope you enjoy it nonetheless. We're looking today at The Cruel King and the Great Hero, Storybook edition. This is the story of how one day you will defeat me. And I'll quickly get the cellophane off so you don't have to look at it with the reflection. I ordered it from NISA Europe, Nipponichi Software, and they shipped it to me in March when it came out this year. But unfortunately the box arrived damaged. It had been bashed in transit. So I reported the damage and they immediately sent out a replacement box which arrived a short while ago. It's got a printed cover paper. And here's the details on the back. And the box itself very nicely just has artwork. And artwork is where I would expect the strong suit of this game to be, because it had a precursor, not a prequel, because this is a standalone game and quite different from the other one, but the previous one, also a very small project within NISA, was called The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince. And that came out in 2019, and I bought it back then digitally because there was no physical edition at the time. And that game is a puzzle platformer. I will show you just a little clip from it so that you can compare the design and the artwork in that game and in this new one, which I believe is very similar, also has this storybook appearance, which I find really charming and appealing. So as I said, a smaller limited edition, but there should be an art book in there, which is of course what I always like to have, and at least a digital soundtrack, so I'll try and get some of the music off it for using as highlights here. And of course I'm looking forward to the plushie inside. So the box itself I would describe not as being of sturdy cardboard, but it's the thinner cardboard type, which they tend to use for smaller editions that don't have a lot of weight inside or anything really, majorly moving about. So here's the digital soundtrack code I can use and a track list. So we have a total of 22 tracks, and that's good. That should be, I assume that's the full OST. The game I'll get out of the cellophane, and there's something really odd on the back cover. We'll have a look at that in a moment. So front cover, and here's the back. Do you see what I mean? It's like there was supposed to be some information printed in that white rectangle there, and it's missing. I'm baffled. Like, for instance, with the Alliance Alive, and they could have done it like that. But I think someone maybe used the wrong template. It just looks a little bit odd. So we've got a very nice looking small hardback art book. So this is the front cover. And the back cover has just a sword on it. And it's got that soft sort of leathery, imitation leathery feel, but very nice. So there's a total of 52 pages, and this is the contents listing. And this you recognise is the title image. And the caption reads, "The liar princess and the blind prince had a signature monochrome style with accents of colour. Shifting toward full colour was a difficult decision, but I feel it brought out a feeling of warmth." Interesting, so we're going to have full colour in this game. So here are some of the character illustrations. Look at Flora, she's adorable. Here is concept art for our main character, Yu, and the Dragon King. There's a rabbit rouser and a moss toad. I like that the artist was able to put small captions on many of the pages, giving us just a little bit of insight. And the artist says, "It's entertaining to think about the settings. The more I think about them, the more I'm convinced they actually exist, and the deeper they feel." And here is a background illustration. And the caption reads, "This is a coloured sketch for the first forest stage. The forest was sketched long before the project started, to get a feel for how the graphics would look. Although the atmosphere is different now, the colours were also much darker compared to the Liar Princess and the Blind Prince, but it was suggested to make it look brighter. It looks more pleasant this way." And there is a storybook at the end of this book. Now I checked quickly, and it's called Storybook, but it's what we'd call the introduction to the story. So I obviously won't read it all out to you. That would be giving away probably far too much. But the first page reads, "Our story begins far away, long ago. Here a human town was nestled within stone walls, while the monsters made home to the forest and mountains beyond. It is a mysterious world, and it is where our story transpires." There are quite a few pages with illustration. It's very nicely done. Quite a bit of thought and love was put into this little book, and it shines through, and I appreciate that. Here's the disc, nothing else inside. So it's not a reversible sleeve. There's a world map inside. And now comes the really important bit. The plushie, featuring our little hero Yu. And here he is. The materials are all very soft, apart from the hat, which has a sort of slightly rougher felt feel. His hair is done in the style that I see a lot of plushies these days, so I assume there's some kind of a mass production format there for these things. But he looks cute. He's got his ID label there. for a smaller, less expensive type of edition. He is a nice little figure to have, I think. It's got everything I expect in a limited edition: an art book, a soundtrack, and a small extra. So the only question now is what type of game is this, because it's not a puzzle platformer like The Liar Princess. It is described as a heartwarming adventure game told in a children's storybook style. That much is pretty obvious. They follow you on her quest. Her quest! It's a girl. How silly of me to assume it was a boy. To become a great hero, just like her father. It was released on the 15th of March this year, and it is a turn-based RPG. And that came as a big surprise to everybody, because we'd sort of assumed they would carry on with the platformer format, but they changed tack completely and made it into an RPG. I believe it's not a very difficult or complex one, because it's a smaller game. But from what I've heard so far, people have enjoyed it. The only criticism I heard was that the number of random encounters might be a bit high, leading to a bit of repetition in combat, which is not unusual for these types of games, especially coming from Japan, as we know. But if it's enjoyable, I usually don't mind just a little bit of repetition or grinding. I'll see how I go with that. I don't want to make this video too long, because the editing's getting a bit difficult for me. So what I'll do is, once I've played enough of the game, at least a few hours, I will put together some clips together with the clips from The Liar Princess as a comparison, and give you a companion video to show what the game is like and what my first impressions are. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this short look at the cruel king and the great hero, and the great hero is a girl. Thank you very much, as always, for watching. Please keep well. I'm Food for Dogs. Bye-bye.